Hello, good morning. A warm welcome to all. So, today we can discuss one more general chapter in pteridophytes, that is stellar evolution in pteridophytes. Okay. So, you know now pteridophytes are the vascular plants. Why they are called vascular plants? Because their system having vascular tissues. Okay. So, in bryophytes you know there is no such a vascular strand. But when you reach at the pteridophyte, because you studied evolution also. So, now you can say these are vascular cryptogams. So, that is very important part, vascular system. Okay. So, what is a stele? You know what is a stele? So, stele is actually derived from the Greek word meaning column. It is defined as column, or you can otherwise call it as pillar. So, when you construct the house, you can see there are different pillars are arranged. They are actually the strength of the house. Okay. So, in the while constructing the pillar, you can have a thick concrete inside. So, that actually maintain your entire house as such with strength. Okay. Likewise, every plant having a stellar system at its center part or core part. Okay. So, this is the pillar of the plant. The stellar system consists of xylem, phloem, intervesicular tissues, especially the cambium, medullary rays, pericycle and pith. This may vary depending upon the organism, plants. Okay. So, the stele is the term refers to central core of plant axis and is restricted only to primary tissue. So, when you cut off, usually you can see when you visit a forest or in a plywood industry or somewhere else, you can see that woods cut down and trees cut down, and you can see observe the circular outline of the wood. And when you observe inside, you can see a central portion, the clear spherical portion. That is actually the stellar portion when it is in the young condition or when it is in the primary condition. So, this is the core part or the stellar portion. Okay. And the term stele is first used by Van Ticum and Dowliet. So, this is a stellar part. So, in this diagram you can see this is the outer portion. So, central stellar part. It is surrounded by a thick endodermis, red color, outside cortex. So, these are the xylem, and in between the blue colored structures are the phloem. So, the stele includes xylem, phloem, pericycle, medullary rays, etc. Pith, etc. Okay, understood? I hope you understood what is a stele. The central cylindrical portion that carries xylem, phloem, etc. Okay. Yes. Now, there is a stellar theory proposed by Van Ticum and Dalton. What is stellar theory means? Stele is a real entity and present universally in higher plants. In all higher plants it is present. And cortex and stele is separated by a layer known as endodermis, and cortex and stele are the two fundamental parts of a shoot system. So, shoot system having two important parts, one is cortex, another one is stele. Clear? Then stele and cortex are separated by endodermis. They are separated by endodermis. Okay. Then main components of the stele is the xylem and phloem. That also understood. Pericycle, medullary rays, pith, etc. are also part of the stele. These points included in the stellar theory. Clear? Okay. Now, what are the different types of stele? So, the stele is having very much importance in pteridophyte, because from the bryophyte to pteridophyte, that the development of vasculature is very significant. So, in pteridophyte, there are from primitive, very basic type to advanced type. So, primitive type you studied the xylotum. To the advanced type you studied teres. So, likewise there is a series of changes taking place in the stele. So, that is known as stellar evolution. So, you can see in the pteridophyte, when you take a plant of fern or any other pteridophyte, you can see the root is, while you section the root, you can have a particular stele. When you section the rhizome, a particular stele, then shoot another stele, the leaf portion another stele, likewise. So, it varies in part by part. So, that is a difference. And also there is an evolution from the basic primitive type to advanced type. That is the significance of stele in pteridophyte. So, what are the different types of stele? Okay, based on the ontogeny and phylogeny. What is the origin and phylogeny evolution? There are three important categories. They are protostele, that is stele without pith. Pith is the center sterile portion. Stele without pith is protostele, very basic primitive type. Stele with pith and without a leaf gap. Leaf gap is the portion junction where the leaf traces or leaf is attached. So, stele with pith and without a leaf gap is Siphonostele, and stele with pith and leaf gap. This is the third category. Solenostele is actually a modification of Siphonostele. Clear? So, protostele means stele without pith. Siphonostele is stele with pith and without leaf gap. Solenostele is stele with pith and leaf gap. These are the three main types of stele. Okay. Now, one by one we can look upon. First one is protostele. What is protostele? You know, this is a primitive one. Here pith is absent. A very simple stellar organization, and majority of pteridophytes have this. So, there is a central core of xylem, central xylem surrounded by phloem, then pericycle and endodermis. Okay, see, there are different types of protostele. First one is haplostele, actinostele, plectostele, mixed protostele and mixed protostele with pith. One by one we can discuss. First type of protostele is haplostele. You know what is protostele? Protostele having center xylem surrounded by phloem, no pith. Clear? So, haplostele is having a phloem that surrounded a xylem. Okay. Xylem appears circular or oval, and it is named by Brubner a most primitive type. Example is Elaginella. See the image. This is the xylem. This blue color structure is the xylem. Protoxylem, metaxylem. This blue color structure that surrounds this is the phloem. Clear? So, xylem completely surrounded by phloem, and it is surrounded by endodermis. That is what haplostele. Very basic, very primitive type. I hope you understood. That is Elaginella is example. Okay. Second type of protostele is actinostele. What is the difference here? Here the same pattern, but xylem appear as a star-like mass. Okay, and there are ribs or points, and phloem is not present in continuous, but phloem present in between the arms of xylem. See the image. This is the difference. In the first case, that is haplostele, you see there is no this type of projections or star-like structure, but here xylem appear like ribs or points or star-like, and phloem occur in between these ribs also. Clear? In first case, that is a circle of xylem surrounded by phloem. Here it is star shaped. That is the only fundamental difference between the haplostele and actinostele. Clear? This is act like a star. Example is xylotum. Clear? Haplostele example is Elaginella. Now, next type of protostele is plectostele. What is plectostele? Has masses of xylem in the form of plate. Xylem appear like plate-like lobes. Clear? Different sizes of plates. Okay. Xylem plates alternate with the phloem. Example is Lycopodium. See, these are the xylem appear in elongated or plates. These are the different plates of different sizes. Then surrounded by what? Phloem. Phloem in between the xylem plates also. Endodermis. So, there is no pith, only xylem and phloem. This is a type of protostele. So, xylem arranged in plates and phloem occupied in between them. That is plectostele. Example Lycopodium. Understood? Okay. Now, next. Mixed protostele. What is mixed protostele? Xylem divided into several units. Okay. These are xylem into one unit, second unit, third unit, fourth, likewise several units scattered in the mass of phloem. Clear? Xylem scattered in the mass of phloem. That is Lycopodium is an example. That is mixed protostele. Okay. There is no pith, you have to remember this, but xylem scattered here, mixed protostele. Then one more is there, mixed protostele with pith. This is advanced protostele. You can see a centermost part having a pith also. Others are all like the mixed protostele, and it is a connecting link between the protostele and siphonostele. You know, protostele is a stele without pith, but siphonostele is a stele with pith. So from the evolution, when you consider the evolution from protostele to siphonostele, so this is a connecting link between protostele to siphonostele. That is mixed protostele with pith. Example, hymenophyllum. So we finished the first one, protostele. What are the different types? Haplostele, okay, center core of xylem surrounded by phloem. Then actinostele, stylum, star-shaped xylem, and in between the ribs, phloem arranged. Then plectostele, xylem in plate-like, in between full phloem. Then mixed protostele, xylem mixed in the phloem tissue. Then mixed protostele with pith, an advanced one. These are the different types of protostele. Clear? Okay. Now let us move on to second type, that is siphonostele. What is siphonostele? That is stele with the center pith. Okay. Pith is surrounded by xylem, then it is surrounded by phloem, then pericycle, endodermis. Other structures are same. See here, centermost portion pith, surrounded by xylem, that in turn surrounded by phloem. That is known as what? Siphonostele. These are classified into, based on the position and distribution of phloem, there are two types, ectoploic siphonostele and amphiploic siphonostele. Ecto means outer phloem and outer phloem, then amphiploic, both sides. See, this is the ectoploic and this is the amphiploic. You can see the fundamental difference here. I will show you. So, ectoploic siphonostele is phloem only on external side of the xylem, only on outer side of xylem, pith at central position. So, phloem is externally surrounded by pericycle and endodermis, leaf traces present but no leaf gap. See, this is the pith at the center, surrounded by what is present, pith, then the xylem, outer side phloem, then endodermis, pericycle. Phloem only on external side of the xylem, pith at the center. Okay. Now, amphiploic. You can see on both sides of xylem there is phloem. Okay. Central pith, then both sides of xylem there is phloem, inner phloem and outer phloem. See how this is arranged. See, this is the pith and this is the xylem. Okay. This is the xylem. And what is present in between, this light color, is the inner phloem. What is present outside this is the outer phloem. So, a core of xylem, inner phloem, outer phloem. What is occupying the center is pith. So, amphi means, you know, two, both. So, inner phloem, outer phloem. Okay. Xylem on inner side surrounded by inner phloem. Xylem on outer side surrounded by outer phloem. That is amphiploic. Ectoploic xylem, phloem only on outside of the xylem. Pith is present. Okay. So, siphonostele is with the pith and having two types, ectoploic and amphiploic. In amphiploic, outer phloem and inner phloem. Then, third category, solenostele. What is solenostele? It's actually a modification of our siphonostele with non-overlapping leaf gap. Siphonostele is with a leaf gap, but our last one, siphonostele is without leaf gap, but solenostele is with the leaf gap. That is the difference. So, there are different types. Same way you can classify ectoploic solenostele, amphiploic solenostele, then dictyostele, ATACTOSTELE and eustele. What are they? You can check one by one. Ectoploic, you know what is ectoploic? This is derived from ectoploic siphonostele. You know ectoploic siphonostele means central pith surrounded by xylem, then phloem. Clear? Outside only phloem. So, this is another peculiar feature is the leaf gap, presence of leaf gap. See, this is the central core of pith. This blue color is a xylem. Then it is surrounded by the phloem region. Clear? Then pericycle and endodermis. Outer endodermis, outer pericycle, outer phloem. Xylem and outer phloem. Inner phloem, outer phloem. Okay. Now, amphiploic solenostele. See, centralmost region pith. This blue color region is the xylem, inner phloem, outer phloem. Okay, outer phloem and inner phloem, both sides. What is the difference from this Siphonostele? Having a leaf gap. This is the leaf gap. Okay. In the first case also you can see the leaf gap. Means it is actually cut into one plate, cut into one side, cut open through the leaf gap. A small portion where vascular traces passes to the leaf. Leaf gap is there. That is Solenostele. In Siphonostele same but no leaf gap. Clear? Amphiploic Solenostele. One example is adiantum. Now, what is dictyostele? Here in the first case, Solenostele, you can see only one gap and it is divided only on one side, only a small portion is left. But what happens here is, it is cut into different pieces. So, Solenostele broken into different separate strands, and it is known as dictyostele. And each separated strand is known as a meristele. What is present in each separate strand? This is xylem and central core of pith, phloem, xylem, phloem. Likewise, okay. See, it is breakdown. This is a meristele, this is a meristele, this is a meristele. Likewise, that is, this entire system is divided into small vascular strands. That is known as meristele. Example is teres. Now, in the case of evolution, the last one is the eustele. How it is arranged? In the last cases you see, this dictyostele, it is divided into pieces but not arranged in a same or in a circle. It is not arranged in a circle, it is in different regions. But what happens here is the cutting into same line. So, all the cut vascular strands in same, in a single circle. Clear? So, likewise. Okay. And this is known as eustele. This is what is happening, taking place in the case of dicotyledons also. So, overlapping leaf gaps. Meristeles overlapping and arranged in concentric rings. These are arranged in concentric rings. Leaf gaps are parallel. So, these are the leaf gaps. They are parallel. Clear? Okay. Example, dicotyledonous, that is conjoined collateral vascular bundle. Eustele is the advanced stele. Then, one more advanced stele is ATACTOSTELE. What has happened here is, these meristeles are randomly arranged in the ground tissue. These are ground tissue. In the tissue, it is randomly arranged. You cannot distinguish cortex and pith. This is happening in the case of monocots plants. Okay. So, in the stellar evolution, the maximum advanced type is a eustele and a ATACTOSTELE. ATACTOSTELE is a top one. So, we studied what is PROTOSTELE, what is Siphonostele, what is Solenostele. PROTOSTELE, stele without pith. Siphonostele, stele with pith. Solenostele, stele with pith and leaf gap. Okay. Siphonostele is classified ectoploic and amphiploic. Solenostele into again ectoploic, amphiploic, dictyostele, eustele and ATACTOSTELE. Clear? Okay. Now let us see how evolution. Thus this picture shows how different evolution of the stele. So starting from the basic protostele, to one side you can see protostele itself, some modification of the xylem into star-shaped joints, that is actinostele. Again another modification into plate-like plectostele. In another case, this protostele when developed pith, that is known as siphonostele. In the case of siphonostele, two groups are there. One is ectoploic, another is amphiploic. Ectoploic only one phloem outside xylem. Pith, xylem and phloem. Amphiploic, what happens? Inside and outside phloem and one strand of xylem. A small leaf gap also present. What happens? Solenostele from ectoploic siphonostele, a break taking place through the leaf gap is formed and all other portions similar to siphonostele. Then the solenostele again undergo different breaks, like this it is formed, different concentric rings, that is eustele. When these different rings or different strands are arranged in irregular pattern without any distinction into cortex and stele, that is ATACTOSTELE. Okay. When amphiploic siphonostele divide into different pieces, it becomes a dictyostele. So these are the how evolution of stele taking place from the basic protostele to the more complex ATACTOSTELE. So primitive type is the protostele and advanced type is the ATACTOSTELE. Okay. This is one more picture how these are arranged. Okay. So I think you understood well. So this is very, very important, stellar evolution. Different questions may be asked. What are the different types of steles observed in pteridophytes, or discuss the stellar evolution in pteridophytes, etc. Or what are the different types of protostele, what are the different types of siphonostele, different types of solenostele, etc. may also ask. You can also have some examples from the type you are studying. Okay. So I hope you understood well. Have a nice day. Thank you.